Hello, I've come to this little power station outside Wymondley to talk about the Defence of the Realm. You might think that's a strange place, but the Defence of the Realm comes in three forms, I think. First is, of course, battlefield defence of the realm, making sure that our shores are protected and free. Secondly, defence of the realm makes sure that we've got enough food to eat. And there we're at serious risk because we know that we rely on 50% of food imports to feed our nation. But the staggering thing and the big risk is in energy security. I don't know whether you know this, but in 1990, when the electricity industry was privatised, the chances of a blackout in this country were under 10%. 7-8% was the what's called a loss of load probability. And in fact, in 34 years ago, we used to be a net exporter of electricity. Today, it's the other way around. We are at risk of a blackout they're rated about 70 or 80% risk of a blackout. And the reason is that we have moved from a blended source of energy production, that was oil and gas and coal and nuclear, to very much renewables. And of course the problem with renewables is that they don't always work. It's obvious that they don't work, solars don't work at night, and it's obvious that wind doesn't blow every time. And in fact, there is a phenomenon in the early winter, in January and February, where we get a low over the North Sea. And when there's a low over the North Sea, we are at risk of blackout, and the only chance that we have of keeping our lights on is to import energy from Europe. And what happens if Europe can't supply us with that electricity? And where does their electricity come from? It comes from coal, and comes from nuclear, and it comes from oil. Our renewables base in this country is 45 gigawatts. The Labour Party have promised that they will get to net zero by 2030. 6 years away. Believe that? Net zero, 6 years away. The Conservatives, they're a little bit more sensible, they're promising 2035. But this is nonsense. It's not achievable. And let me try and put that in context. I'm not going to bother with the Conservative Party. They've lost here in Hitchin, and certainly they've lost any chances of being in power. But the installed base of renewable electricity in this country is 44 gigawatts. The Labour Party, they're not promising net zero at all. When you look at their manifesto, what they're promising is to double the output of onshore wind, treble the output of solar, and quadruple the output of offshore wind. So what they're talking about is taking the current 44 gigawatts and taking it up to 86 gigawatts, 44 now, which has taken years and years to build, getting it up to 86 gigawatts in the next 6 years. Do you believe that? Really? Do you believe that's going to be possible? Why on earth are they kidding you? What is the hell's going on? Now, we currently use around 61 gigawatts. So what we've got, that's what we call it. And we're going to need to double that if we are going to go to all electric vehicles, etc., etc. Now, where have both the Conservative Party and the Labour Party got their evidence from? Well, they've used a report by Aurora Energy Research, some professors from Oxford, but when you look at it, that's been paid for by one of the Tufton Street gang, whose main motivation is to drive the business of renewable energies, because that's how they make their profits. So in these things always follow the money. But there's a guy that you really should be interested in, which is a guy called Professor Michael Kelly. Now, Michael Kelly is a professor at Cambridge University, and he specialises in large project management. And he's done a study about delivering net zero for the UK, not over 6 years or 11 years, but over 30 years. And he's concluded that we would need double the annual global production of cobalt. Just get that. This is just for the UK alone. To go to net zero, we need double the annual global production of cobalt. We need the entire world's production of neodymium, and we need 3/4 of the world production of lithium carbonate. How on earth do you think we are going to compete and get to net zero in those circumstances? These people are not being honest with you. They're not telling you that every time you move to renewable energy, it is, because of the subsidies, the most expensive form. Do you know gas in this country is 5 times the price of gas in America? And because our energy prices are so high, we're losing an industrial base. And with our loss of our industrial base, we're losing the ability to defend the realm, because we're no longer going to be able to produce the high quality steel that we need to build the tanks and the armaments to defend ourselves. So this is a complete loop. We need cheap energy. We need a secure supply of energy if we are to defend our country. And ladies and gentlemen, I tell you that neither the Conservative Party nor the Labour Party have the will or the ability, because it's them that's been in charge for the last 25 years. They've achieved nothing. They will continue to achieve nothing, and we need reform. So when it comes to it, on the 4th of July, next Thursday, please vote for me. My name's Charles Bunker, and I'm standing for the Reform Party. Thank you for listening. Bye-bye.